Hey, what's up, guys? It's me, TSP Rav Shiva. I am the spiritual philanthropist. I hope you guys are doing great this morning. But there's a few things I'm going to show you guys that I think are going to really boggle your mind right now. One, recently, just only recently, on the 22nd of October 2025, this was published. And this was about the Daily Mail here. You can see it's an actual news source. It says scientists baffled as interstellar visitor appears to reverse thrust before vanishing behind the sun. Okay, and it says right under here, NASA quietly deploys planetary defense tools after interstellar visitor shows odd light behavior. So this is really interesting what's going on. A lot of people don't realize that they are taking really extreme measures here. Planetary defense shifts into high gear as 3iAtlas stuns scientific community. That's the USA Herald. Okay, so we have a couple different news sources here that are starting to put this out. You know, if you Google it, and you'll see, and you hit news, when you Google it, you'll see these are some of the things that are coming up. You know, and it really is not surprising to me at this point. I really feel that there's something globally, uh, something's going to have a global impact. It's going to change the way we live, the way we see the world. I think not only myself, there are a lot of other people, especially on YouTube and social media, that are feeling this way and expressing the way that they feel. Even though we have a lot of things going on here right now on the planet that do deserve our attention, there's something about this specific event that's happening. It almost seems otherworldly, and it almost at the same time has a feeling that is almost biblical, because when I say biblical, we look at the stars, space, to be the heavens, and from the heavens is where all of the things of God or any of the angels or anything like that come from. They always speak about the heavens. Now, when I said the word angels before, if you remember, I made a video. If you've been watching my channel, made a video quite a while back, maybe a year back or so or more. And the video was about a dream that I had. Within the dream, it's very interesting. I'm looking at what I dreamt and what's happening now in the world. And I wonder if this is just coincidence, or does it actually have any merit? And I'm going to show you what I mean by that. First, we're going to take a look at something here. I looked up the name Atlas, and I asked the question, does the name Atlas have any correlation historically from ancient writings about the word from the Atlantic Ocean? Oh, let me see if this is it. Or maybe this is it. Right here. The name Atlantic, I don't know if you guys can see this, but let me make it bigger. The name Atlantic Ocean is derived from the Greek Titan Atlas, who was said to hold up the heavens. The term Atlantic means of Atlas, reflecting the ocean's connection to the mythological figure and the nearby Atlas Mountains in North Africa. Now, the reason this is significant, I'll show you why. And I think this will really blow your mind when you see it, because it has direct correlation to everything that is happening right now. And here it is. Get ready, guys. Let's watch. Check. Just making sure this works. So hey guys, what's up? It's me, TSP, the spiritual philanthropist. I am Rav Shiva, and today we're going to talk about some of the things that I've really been focusing on a lot lately. Is the fact that since I was very young, I've been having this ability that I can. It's not. I don't know if it's prediction or prophecy or what it is, but I see things before they happen, so much so that it gets me in trouble in a lot of different ways by very major players in the world. And I know it sounds far-fetched, but I can prove a lot of it, most of it. Some of it is very hard to prove because it's done so stealth-wise. You know, these guys are very covert in how they work. But it's a lot of people come up here and say things like this, but I really have proof of a lot of the stuff. Like some of the posts that I've made, you'll see them here. going to post some of it here, but there's a lot more I'm going to post as well. But let me get straight to the dream, and then I'll tell you a little bit about myself. But there's a dream that I had, and it was, I think what the date was, I can't remember the exact date now, because I have it here. You'll be able to read it on the screen here when you look at it. Okay, the key things I want you to look at really fast before we go on here is, see, January 6th, and I think it's a 24 or 23, I can't remember. You can go back in my videos, you'll be able to see the exact timeline there. But this was posted on Facebook. As a matter of fact, if you go to Facebook, look up The Spiritual Philanthropist, you'll see, that's my page, you'll see exact date and post. So it says, I saw obelisks rising from the earth. An obelisk is something that looks like what you see the monument in Washington. It's a thin, tall monument with four sides and a point at the top. Same thing that you see in Egypt, okay? Rising from the earth with ancient writing on it and large volcanic explosions. I didn't say this here, but the volcanic explosions that I think where they were, that I was watching in the dream, I was standing watching them happen live, and it looked like it was across the Atlantic Ocean over somewhere in Greenland or Iceland or around that area. That's what I kind of had in my mind while I was watching it unfold in the vision. Now here, I saw for the second time the skyscrapers of New York City being taken down by large waves and New York City covered by the ocean. I looked up into the sky and saw a war being waged on Earth, okay? A war being waged on Earth, but it was happening in the sky. But it wasn't by humans. I saw the number 3, giant angels, 3iAtlas, guys, 3 giant angels with their wings on fire flying toward the ocean, Atlantic Ocean. 3iAtlas. Okay? This is how my dreams happen, guys. This is exactly how my dreams happen. So I saw 3 giant angels with their wings on fire flying toward the ocean water. And upon their feet touching the ocean, they healed in front of my eyes. The fire went out. These angels were so large as giants. If I remember anything more, I'll post it. My dreams don't lie, and this one was like Armageddon, a war being waged on earth with angels and demons. I can understand how people, like, if these were things that looked like, to my eyes, what it would be like, but I couldn't tell what these things were that were flying in the air. They looked like spaceships, so I just put angels and demons, making it something like Armageddon, because we don't know if they knew how to express back then what they saw. They might have used those words as well, and not knowing what it is that you're seeing. So that's kind of why I say that. I don't know what it is exactly that I saw. I know they were giant ships. I know those they looked just like angels, and I actually made artificial intelligence. I described it to artificial intelligence, and artificial intelligence did a damn good job in depicting them, which is really odd. You'll see it's before, I think it might have been around January, so it's really before any of this drone stuff started happening. But in the dream, when I read this to you, or you can just, read it for yourself, you'll see that in the dream there was this mountain or volcano that was erupting, and the sky was very dark and lit up kind of with a red tint. And I remember seeing these obelisks, these Egyptian-like obelisks, just rising up out of the ground. And I remember, to me, it just looked so magnificent, so large, so grand. And I remember looking at it. I didn't realize at that moment I was in a dream. I just kept observing. It's like, I don't even know if it is a dream, because it's like slightly different, because I'm there, but I'm like getting information. It's really weird. Like I guess they call it lucid dreaming or something like that, when you're aware of yourself and you're kind of aware that where you're at and what's going on. It took me a moment to snap into the idea of where I was at, and I was like, oh, I'm having some vision or something. But as I saw the obelisk, rising up from the ground, I looked up into the sky and I saw these ships, massive, like spaceships. They're huge, and there were these drones coming out of them. I put that they were waging war, but I didn't want to put drones because I didn't know what it meant. I was like, that sounds so stupid at the time. And and then if you look at what's happening in the world right now, I do this a lot to myself. I'll leave stuff out that I just didn't think would be pertinent, because the drone didn't seem threatening. So here, this is June 30th. This is my third dream about New York City and seeing massive plumes and clouds of smoke over the skyline of New York City. Each dream sequentially seeing the same thing. I pray it's not what I'm seeing. But recently, if you check my most recent video of dreams, I saw this, what looked from a distance of some sort of cloud that went up and started spreading, just like in a nuclear blast, or it could have been from a large body hitting the planet, like like a comet or an asteroid or something, would make the same kind of plume. And it's very interesting. I don't know. Well, I'm not saying that these are all speculations from my dream. Please, guys, on YouTube, I'm not saying this is going to happen. I'm just saying that these are the things that I've seen in my dream. So don't hold that against me, please, because I'm saying it is a dream. It is not real. This is what I've seen in my dream. It doesn't mean anything. So I'm just putting that out there. Especially over New York, which is the area that I'm primarily focused on. If you read the dates and everything are on here, you can look at them and you'll see that a lot of the stuff that I've seen is taking place over New York or close to New York, and over the ocean as well, around New York or the Hudson River area, and around that whole body of water. And I remember seeing these drones coming down, and like a swarm of locusts, man. They were like just swarming around, and they were attacking people, and people were just dropping as they were coming down. And for some reason, I don't know how I knew how to do this, but I had a bottle of water on me, and I knew that water, if it's blessed the correct way, that this is going back from a yogic tradition. I knew a certain mantra that I started repeating and taking the water and throwing it all around me. And anytime these things came close, they would just drop to the ground. And I knew I had something, so I was trying to help other people in that vision or dream or whatever it was. But then I went and looked over across to where the city was from where I was at. And I could see, when I looked up in the sky, I saw these 3 angels. Their wings were on fire, and they came down and they touched and walked on the water. They were like giant. They were huge. And I remember what a magnificent sight that was. I looked at it, and remember, this is like a vision type, dream type thing. No drugs involved, people. This is all, whatever it is natural happening. Okay. Tell me if this is not coincidental. This video that I did so long ago, like last year, talking about this impending thing that may happen, I wasn't sure, but I saw 3 angels, and look where it's at. That's the Atlantic Ocean that goes towards New York City. That's the New York City skyline. This is how I described it into the AI, and it did it correctly. So, the Atlantis is a word derivative of the word Atlas. 3 angels, Atlas, and it's through my eyes, my third eye, that I'm seeing this. And then they have this thing coming here called 3iAtlas. I look at coincidences like that because in my life, words have meant everything. And sometimes a word can have a different abstract visual and meaning to the word that you see here in this reality. That's what happens. People don't realize this. Nothing in your dreams looks exactly or feels exactly the same way that it does in this reality, because they're 2 different realities. In the realm of dreams, it's not bound by any of the boundaries that we have here in the waking world, where we're dealing with the 3-dimensional world. But when you're in the sleep world or the vision and the dreams, everything seems more abstract. It doesn't take the exact shape and identity of what you see here. But if it happens to you, this is how I believe, because I've been doing this for so long. Not just me, I think that other people, if they don't know this, should know this. This is how you have to interpret your dreams. Remember, they're not going to be exactly the same. You're looking at it in a place where everything is abstract without the boundaries that we have here in the waking realm. So when we come here, we have to try and piece it together. That's part of the beauty of it. And I can easily pinpoint and piece my dreams together with what's happening now, with the words and the events and the locations. All these things come together, and that's how you have the 3iAtlas. I have the three angels in the Atlantic Ocean and all the destruction that's happening and things coming from the heavens. Okay? And the word Atlas itself was from the Titan, Atlas, who was from the heavens. So you have to look at all these things. They have to have meaning, and that's how I look at it. It's been happening to me since I was a kid. And I remember seeing New York covered, most of it, like you could see like half of the buildings up over the water and the other half submerged. So something catastrophic from that volcano had happened. I'm not sure exactly what it is, but since I'm already seeing the signs of the of certain things that have already come true from the dream, I never doubt my dreams. I never do, because they always something. It's like it always something happens, and I just don't know how to explain it. But I have other dreams that are really interesting that you guys might find. What I'm hoping to do is find people out there that have had dreams. I call them transmissions, where I've had like conversations with people, and they tell me, the reason. Like when I was in this one dream, I was able to jump off the ground and go very high and come back down slowly. And I looked and tried to impress this woman that was there, and she looked at me and she goes, "The only reason you can do that is because you're off-world." Okay, I want to show you and tell you something very strange. Now, this kind of depicted what I saw there in the dream and how I approached this woman. And I didn't even say this to the artificial intelligence, but the woman in the dream was an African American woman. So I'm getting chills when I think about it, because I'm like, how the hell did an AI figure this out? And I think I'm more connected, and we're all more connected than we actually think, to artificial intelligence, whether it's through nanobots or something, or somehow we're connected to these things, because it depicted everything I said with such vivid, almost completely synchronized to my mind in what I saw, except this guy doesn't look like me. He's ugly. I'm a lot better looking than this guy here. That's the only thing. I'm just kidding. Not to be funny or anything, but everything else came out great. But no, it's really strange. I just don't know why, how this does it. But the only thing I can think of somehow that it has connection to us already, or just me. I don't know. But I've been finding these things happening more and more. But the context of this is from a dreamlike, lucid, dreamlike situation that you're watching here. And that being that you see there, the woman, said to me that the only reason I can float is because I am off-world. And when I was there, I couldn't figure out what the hell does off-world mean. I said, does it mean off-planet? And I looked it up, and it was off-planet. It's kind of common sense, but I had to double-check it. Because there, it didn't seem like I was off-world, because I could still stand up and walk. But I guess if you were in space, you probably could still stand up and walk, but you'd have the ability to jump and float. And this thing was much bigger. It spanned so far back behind her. It just looked tremendous inside, and looked very similar to that vegetation everywhere, And I don't know what the outside of it looked like, but this is what the inside of it looked like. And I was getting these dreams and transmissions of this thing coming to our solar system, coming to our planet. So I don't know exactly. Like I said, I'm not saying that any of these things are true. These are only my interpretations of what I've experienced in my dreams and visions. So let me claim that again. This is a disclaimer. I'm not saying any of this is fact. Okay, so I'm making that point now, and you guys corroborate me, so YouTube doesn't give me any trouble for it. But I'm putting this out there for you guys. And I looked at her in off-world. I was like, what does she mean by that? And I didn't know the term actually very well. And I looked around and I realized I was in some kind of giant spaceship, because I could see certain parts of it. They had like openings where you could see outside. And I was like, I'm surrounded by stars outside. And I was like, as soon as I woke up, I looked up the term off-world, and it means off-planet. So, like I told you, I've gotten like a lot of information in my dreams, and I think other people can do this as well. It's just that we're being taught not to listen to ourselves, not to listen to our higher consciousness, not to tap into these things. So my story is a long one. It's a very depressing and very and there's a lot of, like I said, there's a lot of players involved in my life, and it's been really difficult. But I'm going to tell it anyway. You know, I'm already at an age where I've seen a lot. I've had a lot of things happen to me. I've survived many things most people have, and I choose to do this. You know, whether or not people want to acknowledge it, that's fine. But I know that the other thing is that I'm being censored globally by these people in my life, and it's been really difficult. But I'm going to tell it anyway. You know, I'm already at an age where I've seen a lot. I've had a. Okay, this is a picture of me when I was a kid. Now, come on, don't I look sort of like an alien here? Look at me. Well, a confused alien, obviously, but an alien nonetheless. Look at my face. Look at my head. Look at my features. They're like the small eyes, the nose, the lips, and the giant big head. And I still have this giant big head. Everybody talks about it when they see me. And, you know, I guess maybe I'm very conscious of it, but I think I still look like this too. I think my eyes still have this look of, what the hell's going on here? You know? But I just have to point that out. A lot of things happen to me. I've survived many things most people have, and I choose to do this. There's a story behind all of this here. You see that implant in my neck here? This was after a car accident, so they had to reconstruct this area right here in my neck. So yes, I'm part metal now, and you can see this was from an attack at work where the guy was a very good fighter, a two-time world champion, obviously. He was a submission specialist who ended up getting into a verbal argument, I guess, sort of, turned into a physical one, and he pretty much, you know, broke me apart systematically. Very good at what he did, I have to say that. You know, whether or not people want to acknowledge it, that's fine. But I know that the other thing is that I'm being censored globally by these people because I've been doing this for quite a long time, and I put out quality stuff, and I have very good, you know, devices to use, and even my connection is like the top, you know, and everything just seems to constantly get. So here's something interesting. So the reason I thought 108 is also a specific, really interesting number. I didn't know it posted at 108, but that's a spiritual number. So this is just a reminder to check dates. I always tell people to check dates because right before one of my therapists that I know a therapist, right? Wow, why doesn't it surprise you? Well, if you were seeing the shit that I have been seeing, you'd be seeing a therapist too. So she was actually a witness to what I said before it happened. This is November 12th, 2019. I said Om Namah Shivaya, over 1 million souls will perish because certain people disobeyed a simple command. God of destruction, Rav Shiva, Sat Shiva, Brahmastra is coming, Sat Shiva. So Brahmastra is something that the name that came into my mind, it's like a weapon of God. Okay? So this says the world has it coming. Imagine being able to wield a sword that can cut through populations, you know, and everything just seems to constantly get wrecked. So here I posted, we should all be extra vigilant in our prayers because something isn't feeling right between the weather and war and chaos in general. Something is wrong. Within the next 2 months, we will have what they call a second moon in the sky. The core of the earth is spinning in reverse or retrograde in motion. Just stuff to think about and keep in prayers. It keeps reminding me of that dream that I had with 3 angels. There you go. I didn't even realize I had that in there. And the volcano and earthquakes and flooding and some sort of technologically advanced aircraft. See, guys, so this is going back a year ago, or no, a couple of years ago. It said 2019, right? The last one. So, but I will be putting more stuff up for you guys to see, and you'll see it for yourself. Okay, crap. Hold on. Let me see if I can get the actual stuff here before this takes it over. Self, and you can be the judge. So okay, so the dream where I was given the mantra and told what was to come was from Shirdi Sai Baba. I just saw pictures and immediately remembered the dream. I had only looked up the mantra Hari Om, but never thought about actual being who bestowed it upon me. So I had this was the actual mantra that I had before COVID, where I was told that the world would become sick, and it says Hari Om, right? Hari Om, everyone. So Hari Om was the actual mantra that I was given in the dream years ago, and it said in the dream that the world would become sick, and I never thought about it, and the world did become sick when COVID started, right? When COVID was announced. So it's very interesting. Judge of that, and you can let me know. I love getting comments and feedback, and that'll help me out. We can talk about. I dreamt that something happened that caused the New York City trains to run, and then there were tons of people scurrying around trying to get home. I believe it appeared as if all the power, electricity was gone. There was a panic and fear. There was also a strange luminescent something, a cloak ships in the skies. So this is December 6th, 2020. Okay, and if you haven't seen this video right here, this really gives a good uh, understanding of what my background is, my why I talk about these things, my close encounter of the fourth kind. So if you get a chance, watch that video. If you're not subscribed, definitely, if you like this stuff, definitely subscribe. I think you're going to appreciate what I'm doing. If you want to know more about who I am, I'll tell you right now. Um, I'm working right now on my fourth degree. I have a few other degrees. I worked in addiction, chemical substance abuse for a couple of years. I have two degrees. One is an advanced degree that I have for a bachelor's there, and the other was an associate's. That's considered a bachelor's because of the nature of the degree. Because today you cannot get it in the associate's forms; it only comes in a bachelor's form. And I have another associate's degree in English. So I was teaching English as a second language for a while. Then I started working as a addiction counselor, but I've been teaching yoga as well and my own system. And I've been an actor performing and doing stand-up comedy. Of course, you could maybe tell that I'm a little funny. So I do stand-up comedy. It's the first Indian stand-up comedian in North America. So I have that background. So now I'm going into cybersecurity because I've loved science ever since I was a very young child. And I pray to God that, I live long enough to finish all the things that I'm doing and eventually get into quantum computing or somewhere in the realm of quantum physics to understand it on a deeper level so I can try to figure out why I'm capable of seeing and doing the things that I do and the precognition characteristics that I have or attributes that I have, the intuitive attributes. So I want to know more about that. So that's why, guys, that's why I do this stuff. I've been pretty damn good at my predictions so far. So good that the government seems to be involved in my life and a few other players. And I put it out there. I know it sounds crazy, but even though I'm a practicing yogi, the world has to start realizing that you can't dismiss ideas that don't fit the proposed template, the proposed norm. You know, who's setting the proposed template? Who's setting the proposed norm? Most likely the government, because they want you to live within the constructs of their reality. In their reality, you shouldn't look beyond the boundaries that they put to you. Okay? The boundaries that they give you, they don't want you to look and peer into or beyond those areas because you will be constrained. You will be considered dangerous if you go beyond the constructs of their proposed reality. And I'm telling you that this matrix that they've set up, just like in the movie The Matrix, is not real. It's far from it. There's something else going on, guys, and I wish that you guys would listen and hear me out. It's been so hard all my life, except for the people who know me closely that have witnessed and seen the things that I've said come true. Those are the only people that truly understand and believe it. I have close friends now that don't know this side of me, you know, but I just think that those who are going to hear it, they're going to hear it. Those who are going to see it, they're going to see it. That's just how it works. I can't explain it. Other than that, it's like we live in different dimensions or something. You know, the people who can see me and understand this aspect of me don't know the other dimensional version of me that the other people see me as. That's the thing that I really realize is that we have to fight for our reality, even in this realm. And part of fighting for that reality is fighting for your essence of who you are, not what other people say you are, but your essence of who you know that you are. That's who you're fighting for. Okay, so don't be a construct of society or the powers that be. Be a construct of yourself, a creation of yourself. God gave you the ability to do so many things. Even in every Bible says, especially the Bible itself, when Christ says that even you would be able to do more than I if you had just a little bit like that, a little bit of faith, just like that of a mustard seed. If you had just that much, you'd be able to do even greater things than I. And if Christ was being able to raise the dead and to all these things that he did, and he's telling us that we could do more than that, just think about it. Think about what he's telling you there. Believe in the kingdom of God. The kingdom of God is inside of you. He's telling you essentially in that moment to believe in yourself, that you are the potential of God. We are part of the ocean. We have the potential of becoming the ocean. We just don't realize it. And that's really what I'm getting at. So it's not about religion. You can find that in almost every ancient scripture, from Egypt all the way back to the Sumerians. Go around the world where they talk about this concept, and you'll see it's there in every part of the world, in every culture. And that's really what I'm trying to get to, guys. Don't be fooled by these, whatever they are, these illusionists that want you to believe and become addicted. Don't believe the hype. You know. So, guys, I am the spiritual philanthropist. I am Rav Shiva. This is the Daily Sutra, and I hope that you guys enjoy the message that I put out today. I'll be putting them out sporadically. I put out my videos because I said doing the master's program in cybersecurity is extremely intense, and also, we have to tend to the people that we care about. We all have mothers and fathers and people in our lives that we have to tend to. So I have a lot of different responsibilities and tending to my own health as well. So I hope that you guys all get rid of your ego, open your mind, and start researching. It's the only way you're gonna evolve. Nothing else is gonna make you evolve. You have to be that catalyst of evolution yourself. That's what I believe. All right, guys. I'll see you in the next video. Please, everyone, be safe. Believe in yourself. Believe in God. Whatever it is that you feel is right. And treat other with great kindness and respect, and treat animals the same way, guys. I'm always going to say the same thing. Just be cool and be kind, man. Alright, guys. See you in the next video. Thanks a lot.